You're listening to Overdoing It, the Rhode Island Library podcast. Hey there, this is Lauren Walker from Coventry Public Library and the Overdoing It team. Before we launched this show, our team collectively produced over 300 episodes of both Downtime with the Cranston Public Library and Rhody Radio podcasts. This week, we're bringing you an ITEM Renewal, where we share an excerpt from these archives. In this bonus episode, we're taking you back to the Nathanael Greene Homestead with an episode of Rhody Radio, first published in December of 2023. In it, I talk with Brian Zinszer from the Major General Nathanael Greene Homestead in Coventry, Rhode Island. If These Walls Could Talk is a series of podcast episodes that began on Rhody Radio, where we learn about the historic house museums of Rhode Island, and this was the second episode in that series. Brian and I chat about the history of the homestead, General Nathanael Greene, and what everyday life looked like for the General and his family. Welcome to If These Walls Could Talk, a new segment on Rhody Radio where we learn about the historic houses of Rhode Island. Rhode Island was founded in 1636, and its long history has been well preserved. House museums are a great way to learn about what everyday life was like at different times in history. And with over 30 different historic house museums throughout the state, there's a lot to learn about life in Rhode Island from the colonial era through present day. I'm your host, Lauren Walker, from the Rhody Radio crew and Coventry Public Library. I love to go to historic house museums to learn about how people used to live, and also to learn about how architecture and interior design have changed over the years. I'm excited to tour Rhode Island's many historic homes, talk with the people who take care of them, and share all of this great history with our listeners. Today, I'm at the Warwick Public Library recording studio again, home of Warwick Radio Online, a podcast featuring news and stories about Warwick's people, businesses, and one-of-a-kind culture, available wherever you find your podcasts. A big thank you to Will, the Community Services Librarian at Warwick Public Library, for offering this space for us to record today. I'm joined by Brian Zinszer, docent and vice president of the Board of Trustees at the Major General Nathanael Greene Homestead in Coventry, Rhode Island. Hi, Brian.
Hello.
Tell me a little bit about the history of the Nathanael Greene Homestead.
The history of the Nathanael Greene Homestead actually started here in Warwick, in Potawatomi, which is right at the East Greenwich line. And that's where he was born, which it was a family forge there, iron forge. And when he was old enough to become an iron master himself, his father actually opened up a second forge in Coventry, to which Nathanael and his older brother Jacob started working there.
Interesting. So when was the house built?
In 1770.
Oh, all right. 6 years before the big year.
Yeah.
And was it built by his father or?
No. Actually, Nathanael built it himself, but he did get the help with his brothers as well. In total, he had 7 siblings, including himself.
Oh, okay. Lots to help out.
Yeah, right.
I'm guessing it's just kind of like a basic colonial style. Does it have a particular style to it?
It is just a colonial style, and it's modeled exactly after the home that he grew up in.
Oh, okay. Here in Warwick?
Yes.
Interesting. So did he build the house for himself, or did his whole family live there?
He built the house for himself, but then he actually let his brother Jacob kind of live there as well. The forge was actually opened in 1762, so they were riding their horses back and forth, which is roughly about 14 miles.
Yeah, that's pretty far.
Yeah, you can imagine working in an iron forge after riding a horse 14 miles and then riding back and doing that for 8 years.
When I talked to the people at the Payne House, they said that part of the reason why Coventry was founded was so that they didn't have to keep going to Warwick for things.
I'm not sure if that's true, but you could be right.
Yeah, I could be misremembering, but I think it was something along those lines of like they founded a town so that they could have stuff close to them instead of having to go to Warwick all the time. Mm-hmm. So you give tours at the homestead, correct?
Yes.
What are some of the main questions that people ask on the tours?
The main question, the number one main question is, who is this guy? And why is there a museum after him? It's a little different here in Rhode Island, even though he spent the majority of his life here. He's not really a household name here. But if you go down south where he did his best work, there's not many people who don't know his name.
Oh, interesting. I know I recently found out that he was like George Washington's right-hand man, and it surprised me that none of us know who he is.
Right. His right-hand man, and from 1778 on, he was actually second in charge of the entire army.
Wow.
And then you get to 1779, he was in charge of every troop from Delaware to Georgia.
Wow. You would think that, Rhode Island is so proud of its history. You would think that more people would know about that.
Well, living in a state that actually has over 20% of all National Historic landmarks in the entire nation, we definitely take pride in our history, but we're missing a little bit.
Yeah. So has the house ever been like renovated or added to, or is this the way it's always looked?
Yes, no. It hasn't always looked this way. The Greenes had actually lived in their house until 1899, and they still owned it until 1919. But they opened it up to be a boarding school, and at that time they added an addition to the corner of the home. In 1924, the Nathanael Greene Homestead Association was formed in order to buy the property and turn it into the museum. When that was done, we opened the museum, or they opened the museum, I guess you could say, and it became open to the public, but it wasn't really that popular yet. In the 1930s, we underwent a major restoration to bring it as close to the original as it could be.
Oh, okay.
Including removing that big L to it.
Oh, okay. So that addition isn't there anymore?
No, not at all.
Gotcha.
No. We do have pictures of it, and it's part of the tour to be able to see that while you're in there.
Oh, okay.
In the 1990s, we had another semi-renovation, and it was more of a paint, and we were actually matching the colors that were there when General Greene actually built the home.
Oh.
So there are a few that are different for good reasons, and you'll see on the tour if you come.
How were you able to figure out what they were? Did you just kind of like scratch away the layers?
Yeah, exactly, right. And we had to actually go to Sherman-Williams for the paint for that, because nobody else could actually carry the paint or match the paint.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of colors in there. Almost every room is a different color.
Oh, wow. I guess, did he have a lot of money? Like, because I would think that having a different color for every room was not common back then.
Definitely not common. I'm glad you picked up on that. That was actually one of the ways to show you had a lot of money. Mount Vernon was the same way. Unfortunately, some of those are very hideous colors, but they are different colors throughout the whole home.
Hideous colors now, but back then they really liked them, just like in the 70s.
I'd like to think so, but I'm not sure how. Yeah, no.
Maybe they were just they were an anomaly, so it was the novelty of it more so than the aesthetic.
The other way they showed that they had a lot of money was ceiling height, and he has 9-foot ceilings throughout his home in all 8 rooms. So he definitely had a lot of money. This isn't comparable to like the John Brown house in Providence, but it is considered a mansion, and it's actually known as Rhode Island's Mount Vernon too.
Oh, we'll have to make people know that more.
Yeah, please.
So what would a day in the life look like for the people who live there?
It depends on what your role was there. There was an iron forge, obviously. There was also a sawmill, a blacksmith shop, and also a paper mill too.
All on the property?
All on the property.
Oh, wow.
It was originally over 400 acres there. So depending on what you were doing, you would actually just show up to work. And this actually brings up a really key point. If you've ever actually seen the sign that's out front, you'll notice it says Spell Hall. That's what Nathanael Greene called it in only one of his letters. But the reasoning behind that was it was actually Coventry's first school.
Oh.
He never had he's a Quaker. His father was a Quaker minister as well.
Okay.
So he never had a formal education, even though he longed for one. But he believed that people should be educated. So when his forge workers would come in to work for the day, they would bring in their children to take lessons during the day.
Oh, that's really nice. So was it called Spell like spelling, or he just picked it?
He just mentioned it was called Spell Hall in that one particular letter without reasoning. So
all right.
Your assumption's probably the same as mine there.
Well, that's really nice. So he would get up in the morning, go to work, his workers would come in, and their kids would go to school. So I'm assuming he hired a teacher as well, or was that one of his family members?
It was one of the family members, and typically actually his wife, Katie, or he actually called her Kitty.
Okay. Catherine?
Yeah. Yeah, Catherine Littlefield.
That's very interesting. What do you think is the most interesting fact about the homestead?
One of them is the fact that 4 of his descendants, who are also members of the SAR, which is the Sons of American Revolution, found it necessary to buy this property and renovate it to become a museum for people to see and celebrate this man's life. So that part's rather interesting.
Yeah.
And
what is your favorite room in the house?
the library.
It's probably my favorite room too.
Right? It's not what you would expect in a typical library like we were in. There's no bookshelves at all.
Oh.
He, not being allowed to have a formal education, he was only allowed to learn, in his case, 2 separate books. One of them being the Bible as a Quaker. But because they had the iron forge in the family business, he was allowed to learn bookkeeping.
Okay.
It wasn't too long before his dad realized he was actually pretty exceptionally bright and basically retained all information that he read. So he told him that he can purchase his own books with his own money on his own time. And that's what he started doing, which amassed to 250 volumes that they called it compared to books.
Wow.
He kept them in trunks, too.
I was just going to say, so he had no shelves, so he just had trunks full of books.
Right. Well, not many. So there were shelves in the house, though, in certain rooms, and they were meant more for displaying china and things like that compared to books.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious as to how, if there was any organization in the trunks. As a librarian, I'm thinking, like, how did he find the book he was looking for in a trunk?
From everything that I've read about him, and I just found 3 new books I have never seen here before, by the way. He was extremely organized, and put most of us that think we're organized to shame.
Wow. All right. Maybe they were like spine up in the trunk so he could see all the spines. I'm trying to visualize. And what is the color of the library, since we were talking about wall color?
That's a very difficult question to answer. And I say that because it's either red or it's gray. Because we know during his time that the dining room and the library switched back and forth several times, and they're catty-corner to each other. So last year we had the gray room as our library, and it's actually facing the front of the home. But now the last year's dining room is the library facing the rear of the home.
Oh. So why preserve the homestead?
This is a man to celebrate. This is a man who was indispensable to the American Revolution. He's not known like some of the others, but it would not have been done without him.
Why do you say that? Specifically, because I don't know anything about it. I haven't taken the tour yet, so.
When he gained control of all troops from Delaware to Georgia, he was given the Southern Campaign. We had 2 generals down there that had actually failed pretty miserably, I might add. And Congress finally gave Washington his choice compared to them choosing who goes down there. So he chose General Greene to go down there. And when General Greene went down there, he implemented basically a cat and mouse game. General Cornwallis, the British commander, was in Charlestown, so he was basically luring Cornwallis out of Charlestown and into the crest of the Appalachians, which is the western border at that point in time.
Okay.
But then he made a move that was just unprecedented at that time, too, and he split his army. And it is always well known, don't split your army. And when he split his army, it forced Cornwallis to do the same. So now we had much smaller armies going at each other, giving General Greene a better chance. But the key to the strategy is he wanted to draw him away from the shore so he couldn't actually get replenished with any men or supplies. So the further that he pulled him out, the less and less Cornwallis had. In North Carolina, in Greensboro, North Carolina, the Battle of Guilford Courthouse took place. And this was after the split, but they came right back together just for this battle. It's hard to say who won. The standards of the day was whoever held the field at the end of the day won. Mm-hmm. But they basically both held the field afterwards, so it was a draw. Cornwallis did leave first, but I really don't know if I would count that as a full win compared to a draw. But it became a race to the Dan River, or a race to the Dan.
Okay.
The Dan River actually separates North Carolina and Virginia. It's almost along most of the border there. And basically, whoever crossed won, because he wasn't just depleting all of Cornwallis's supplies; he was also depleting his own, so he needed to replenish. So he got over first with all the boats, replenished, and about 2 weeks later, Cornwallis followed him. At that time, General Greene went right back over the Dan River and started heading right back down south. Having all the supplies, he was in pretty good shape. Mm-hmm. Cornwallis still wasn't taken care of. And he headed straight over to Yorktown and was riding back and forth and had plans to get himself back in shape over there. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if you know what happened at Yorktown.
I know it's important.
It's the best way to describe it is the unofficial ending of the war.
Gotcha.
The war went on for 2 years afterwards. But after the siege that Washington, Lafayette, and Rochambeau put on Yorktown with Cornwallis, and he surrendered over 6,000 troops, it was all but over at that point.
That was pretty much it.
Yeah.
All right.
The rest of the war, which oddly enough was the bloodiest part of the war, was General Greene. And he wanted to go reclaim the 3 port cities of Wilmington, North Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina, and Savannah, Georgia, which he did. And he actually saved South Carolina last. The Battle of Eutaw Springs, just outside of Charleston, was the final major engagement of the war, which he won. And he just sat on the outskirts of the city and watched them all leave, and then did a very ceremonious march into the city. And that was the end, because when they left, that was basically the last of the British to leave with the loyalists they took with them.
Wow. He really was really important.
Yeah, very much so.
That's crazy that we don't know more about him. I hope this episode changes that.
I sure hope so too. That's been our goal at the homestead for many, many years.
So when can people tour the house? What's the season and what are the hours?
The season starts at the beginning of April, so basically April 1st into October 31st. And our hours on Friday through Monday are 10 till 5.
Okay. And is it like a tour every hour or?
It's not really a set-up tour. If you do have a large group, please let us know so we can prepare for it. But otherwise, it's come on in. We'll take you as you come.
Oh, all right. And how much does a ticket cost?
There's 3 separate prices. If you're under 4, nothing. If you're under 12, it's $4, and anybody over is $8.
Okay. And do you offer membership? And if so, how much does it cost? And what do the proceeds go towards?
We do have memberships. We have a yearly or a lifetime.
Oh, okay.
And it's $25 for the year, or it's $500 for the lifetime. And if you purchase this, you get free tours and 10% off anything in the gift shop.
Oh, okay. Nice. And all of that goes towards the house?
Right.
Keeping it up?
We're actually a 501(c)(3), and we're privately owned. The board actually owns the homestead.
Okay.
So people will come in and taking tours, donations, and grants are basically the only things keeping us open. And it's working so far.
I hope we get more people in there. So if anyone's interested in getting involved at the homestead, do you take volunteers?
We do. We are 100% volunteer.
So how would someone get involved? Do they just go to your Facebook, or who do they reach out to?
You could go to our Facebook and definitely reach out to us through Messenger on there. You could always call us at the homestead, or don't hesitate to drop on by. We do have a live-in caretaker, and he'll be more than happy to help you.
Great. Is there anything else that you'd like the listeners to know about the homestead that we haven't mentioned yet?
One thing that actually happened just about over a year ago now. Originally, it was over 400 acres. Mm-hmm. And when the Homestead Association was formed, it was dwindled down to 13 acres.
Oh, okay.
But the pharmaceutical plant that's just across the Patuxent River from us, who owned about 35 acres on our side of the river that was undeveloped, they actually donated it over to us.
Oh, wow.
Right. So that's a really big deal. And with that came a lot of hiking trails.
Oh.
And with that, I want to make this very clear. Our grounds are open to everybody at any time. We do ask that you respect the property. Whatever you bring in, bring out, leash your dogs, and just be respectful. But please, enjoy the property.
That's really nice. I did not know that. You said that happened like a year ago?
Yeah.
Nice.
And it's about 3 miles back there. I did it right when we got it, and it was a pleasant walk.
Is it? Yeah, I was gonna say. So, is it like just like a walk, or is it like more rocky?
It's a walk. It's not a very difficult trail. There are some hills, but if you need to avoid them, you can.
That's good to know. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today.
No problem. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for listening. You can find the full back catalog for both Rhody Radio and Downtime at our website, overdoingit.org. That's spelled overdue, like that library book I'm determined to finish, ingit.com. And if you haven't already, be sure to listen to last week's episode where I chatted with Dave Procaccini, president of the General Nathanael Greene Homestead Association, and Lauren Fogarty, program coordinator for the Rhode Island Semi-Quincentennial Commission. We talk about Major General Nathanael Greene, Rhode Island's role in the American Revolution, and what Rhode Islanders can expect as the state ramps up to commemorate America's 250th birthday. In the last chapter, we discuss our favorite books, films, and TV series that take place during the American Revolution. If you'd like to reach out to the show, send us an email at overdoingitpod@gmail.com or find us on Instagram at @overdoingitpod. If you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with a friend and rate and review us to help us reach more Rhode Islanders. Overdoing It is proud to be a resident partner of the Rhode Island Center for the Book and is brought to you by library staff and community members all around the Ocean State. The project has been funded in part by the Rhode Island Office of Library and Information Services. Thank you again for listening, and this has been a bonus episode of Overdoing It, the Rhode Island Library Podcast. We're overdoing it, but you're doing just fine.